We are, we are, we are, we are, we are, we are Duel Legion. Hey guys, it's your host with the most, Legend That Sick Boy, and I know it's been a while since I've done a video, so sorry, just been going some family issues, and yeah, just trying to deal with life, I guess, right? Today's video, we're doing our Albaz video. Finally, I know I'm a little bit late since it's dropped, but don't think I haven't been sitting here with the hammer and the chisel working out some masterpieces for you guys. So definitely check out the video, like and subscribe. You know the drill, guys. I ain't gotta really say anything to you guys. For those who do watch, always appreciate you guys. And look at the deck descriptions below. It's going to be a 40 card deck. All that other stuff and links will be in the description, and I'll place a comment just for you guys have easier access to it like that as well if you want to leave a comment. Just in case you guys were wondering, this is a budget video. Sorry about that. What's a video? Right? It's a video. So the budget deck listing, I wasn't trying to spend buku amount of money on making the Albaz or Desperia deck. Wasn't really trying to go too heavy into it. But I did want to make something comparable and competitive, especially in today's format. Like, I don't really like using the meta word a lot, but in the tier listing, we already know this deck when it came out changed the meta, and I definitely appreciate what it's doing. It's a really good deck. I've been doing a lot of test hands, plays, really good, real smooth. And these are one of the cheaper builds, and it's still like it's snappy. It's really a good deck. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So to start this party off right, you gotta, of course, since we're doing more branded than other engines that we're running in this deck, we're gonna do heavy on the Albaz. So we're running 3 Fallen, and that's just because he facilitates a lot of the plays you're gonna be making, and both inside and outside of his engine setting, right? We're doing 1 Albaz, just because it's basically increasing yourself to 4 Albaz with 1 Albion. Sorry about the other, it's Albion, not Albaz. Basically, it's 4 Albaz. And he has his own effect, so he's basically hard to get dead in your hand. By, putting him, if he's in your hand, putting him to the bottom of the deck, drawing a card, or if he's in your graveyard, throwing a branded card and special summon him from the grave. So really good, especially if you're doing your fusions. Moving forward, for the branded part of this deck, we're doing 1 Albur and 1 Tragedy. Reason being, I wanted to keep it 40. I didn't want to really go too hard outside the 40 spectrum, because I've been doing that with a lot of decks, and you'll see. It's very hard to stay in the 40 format, so I wanted to do 2 Alburs, but I was like, then do a comedian. I was like 1 Tragedy, 1 Albur, just because it fits the way I'm trying to run this deck. I've been trying to keep it budget and under scale as much as I can, but still have it running competitively, So moving forward with the branded monsters, we're doing 1 Spriggan's Kit and 1 Tri-Bridge Brigade Mercur. Basically, your 4 Albaz and your 4 supporting casts. This helps you monster-wise because you can search out for pretty much all of them, and they won't become too flooded. Like, you want more Albazes in your grave and in your hand, and you get these, they bring out the cards that make these viable. So it's definitely, you're going to be wanting these 8 cards more than anything, and it won't really mess around with the other engines that you're going to see in here. So to continue with the branded engine, we're doing the changer of the meta, branded fusion. Broken. Like, just straight broken, especially with the combo you could do with Dragoon. Just broken. Like, this was just going to change the way we play Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. Again, this is the budget build, so I'm trying to wait until Branded Open gets reprinted, because if you're going to run 3 and they're at like $13, $15 a pop, that's a $45 purchase. Right now, with everything going on, I was just trying to keep it. Either I had the cards already existing, or I had ordered pretty much monetarily cheap cards to finish it up, which was the Branded in Red, which is at like $3-4, and the Theater, which is at like $1.50. Also, I'm running a Branded in White as well. So 1 Branded in Red, 1 Branded in White, and a Theater, just to facilitate the branded engines. You could do search outs. You could also run Branded Punishment, and, you know, banishment, that's completely up to you and the way you want to run the deck you're building. If you're running more Desparia, then cool. Me, I was just putting it little engine-y wise, little cookie cutter-ish, I should say, to use old school term. But that's pretty much how I was trying to run it with the Brandon engine. So if you see the engine itself, 6 plus 8, really, really simple. 14 cards. Can't get mad at it. And you're going to see it a lot. So moving forward to the other engines in the deck, we're doing for my Shadal engine, we got Falco, Ariel, and Wendy with one Shadal fusion. I do have El Shadal fusion for the side, but it really, again, trying to stay within the 40 card realm, it wasn't necessary. So one Shadal fusion, and these are just pretty much explanatory. They get to set themselves and Shadal cards back face down. I have a side deck Hedgehog for when Wendy becomes like, if it's not really working, I side out Wendy. But usually it's Falco, Hedgehog, or Wendy, and Ariel just for the 3-card banishment. I can work and easily get out of it for taking cards, especially if I'm doing like a window play and just banish 3 and now you can't special summon. So it just works out really well. And then to hit the criteria is for Shadal Fusion, which is really easy. And in this deck, it's searchable with Keeper of Dragon Magic. So you could just search out Shadal Fusion anytime you get Keeper of Dragon Magic in your hand and just work with it that way. So that is the Shadal engine. Moving forward to the Dragoon engine, which I try to keep it 3 to 4 card engines at most, which we're doing 1 Keeper of Dragon Magic, 1 Red Eyes Fusion, and 1 Dark Magician. With the Albazes, the Albion, and Keeper of Dragon Magic, you're gonna have 5 dragons in your deck. So you can have him in your hand, discard off the summon or the special summon, bring out Red Eyes Fusion, and get Dragoon, or you can go branded into Lubellion. So pretty simple for the Dragoon engine. Again, kept it at 3, and also with Keeper of Dragon Magic, he can fish out any of your fusion cards except for like Invocation. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, your Poly, your Shadal Fusion, your Red Eyes Fusion, you can all get out with Keeper of Dragon Magic. So it's not just, so if you burn out this, if it's in your hand, or if you go on Lubellion and get out Dragoon, you can still dump this and bring out another Poly, whatever you want to your hand, and pretty much just turn that into Falter for that effect. So like, again, it's hard for it to kind of get bricky. You get bricky when you get Dark Magician to your hand, but if you do it correctly for like Lubellion, you can spin it right back, so it doesn't get annoying. But then this turns into a brick, which you can just easily discard with your many discard effects. So that's the Dragoon engine. Moving forward, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Hey, hey. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Hey, hey. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Hey, hey. Alright, now back to the video. So now the next engine outside of Dragoon engine that we're doing, don't curse me out, the Alistair or Invocation engine, right? So that consists of literally just how it plays out. 1 Terraforming. Move that up a little bit, get away from the glare. 1 Magical Meltdown, 1 Alistair, and 1 Invocation. The only reason I was running this engine, just before anybody curses me out in the comments, was I didn't really like the Edge Imp Chain combo. Like I have Fright Furs, you've seen it's up in the video, the old school video. Like for this build, I didn't want to run that. Like in Prank Kids, it was cool, but in here I needed something that was more effective and more speedy than the bricks I would get sometimes. And they say it's not bricky, but it's bricky. I didn't feel like running 3 patchworks just for it wouldn't be bricky. So no, definitely no, and hell no. So I went for a smaller engine. Like you can, the great thing about the Alistair engine and the Invocation engine and Meltdown engine is literally those 3. You know, one begets the other one. And then when you throw in Terraforming in there, you can just, it's automatically, once you get Terraforming, you can toss it out, bam, 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 bam. It just eliminates cards from your deck. And then Alistair, if you summon it to get Invocation, you bring out Invocation and you banish 2 cards off the field, you can cycle back Invocation and then Invocation back to your deck and Alistair back to your hand. And then Alistair is basically a hand trap for fusions that increases them by 1,000. So it's really good to have in hand sometimes when someone's trying to beat out your Dragoon or when someone's trying to beat out one of your Albaz monsters, basically. So this is just a really good speed engine, and then Magical Meltdown literally provides the same thing that Branded Loss does. But I just like the way this one comes out a lot better than Branded Loss does. So one is one perfectly fine. Once you get this board alive, you can pretty much flood your fusions and they can't stop it. And then with the terraforming, if you do run out, and again, you could discard this card for other cards' effects, or you can just go into searching the branded theater. Really simple. So you don't have to waste your other branded search effects like, Kit and Tragedy and Albur to get out theater. So that's the Alistair engine of the deck. Really simple, just a 4-card build. Again, I was just trying to keep it at 4-card side engines with a main stead line of branded being the main engine. That's why those are at 8 and the other ones are at like 4 and 3. And they more or less in sight with each other. Like they vibe really well with each other. Moving along for the hand traps. Now, in this format, I do a lot of duels, but I don't want hand traps. I don't need hand traps. If you're not playing hand traps in this format, in this meta, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failures, because that means you're giving your opponent an advantage, an automatic advantage over you, because you're not playing hand traps and they are. So they're gonna override you. Really, really simple. So if you don't want to play hand traps, I understand that. But if you want to play competitively, play hand traps. So moving forward with the hand traps, we're running 2 Blossoms. Blossom's very staple. The third one, side deck it. I'm just side deck it because, again, for space. 2, and then everything else we're doing and all the other interruptions we're doing, it's you can just run 2 right now. Effect Veiler at 2. You really just want to. I like to hammer down on monster effects as much as I can. That's why I run 2 Gammas as well, with the other brick in the deck, right? Driver. But again, Driver's gonna, like, if you want to bash out, you can get it out with that one. If you want to banish it, you can get it out that with Alistair to get Mechaba. If you want to Shaddoll it, you can Shaddoll it. It's basically going to be your light. So when you're going to get rid of stuff that's a light card, you can easily just get rid of Driver and be perfectly fine with it. And it helps you get your other branded cards as well too, especially the one that's 25 and above monster card. And then to round the other hand traps off, we're doing 1 Skullmeister and 1 DD Crow. DD Crow is broken in this format. If you have especially against this deck, like I'm playing mirror matches, DD Crow is crushing it. I was running 2 Skullmeisters. I put the other one in the side deck because Skullmeister basically cuts off hand traps and other cards that might want to get lively in the graveyard, so you can do that. But it's basically your other Call by the Grave. It's a hand trap Call by the Grave. So really simple, cut them off. So if they're trying to block anything you're doing, you have this or Call by the Grave, you're pretty much good. Same thing with DD Crow, even though DD Crow is a little bit more omni-effective because sometimes they might have a card that works in the graveyard or opposed to a card that they're targeting in the graveyard. So you might want to use this on the card they're targeting and this for the card effect that's activating when it hits the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? Really simple, really, really good. What's the count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Minus the Driver, you're running 8 hand traps right there. So that's the hand trap engine. If you want to call the Driver engine an engine as well, you can. But I didn't really put a 3rd Gamma in just because of space. I could put a 3rd Gamma in, but I would have had to sacrifice the Driver. So I didn't want to. Like, I have it as a side deck, so I didn't want to double down on it to, like, as an opener. Especially like for the speed option, because it basically gets fished out and then thrown to the graveyard afterwards, or gets banished itself, so you can flip it back in when you're doing one of your branded effects. So for the outside cards, for the spell and traps, basically that are not like cohesive with the engines that you guys saw, there's Poly, there's 2 Super Polys. All right, get that out the glare. There's 1 Call by the Grave. And then there's 1 Red Reboot and 1 Impermanence. I could have put 2 in here, to be honest, but Red Reboot, I've lost and won because of Red Reboot. So just for space aspects, like I can pull out another Impermanence and put it in if I want to, if it's getting that bad. But I also have a lot of monster effects negation already with like the Gamma and Effect Veiler, so I didn't need to go too crazy with it. And then I have a whole bunch of interruptions like with Super Poly and the Call by the Grave and even Red Reboot itself. So it just catches something really well. Like if they're gonna go in perm or any trap card that's gonna hurt me, I can just red reboot out of it. So moving along for the extra deck. Extra deck. So as for the extra deck, the only really thing I'm probably missing is Guardian Chimera, and I'll probably order that within like a week or two. So that's really not stringent. Everything else is pretty much there when it comes to it. So and probably things I can make room for otherwise, but the way it sits right now is pretty well with me. So getting right into the extra deck, it's gonna be 2 Mary Jades. Pretty much your secondary boss monster, your primary boss monster, depending on how you're looking at it. Again, keeping with the Brandon Onion. Engine. Onion. Who want an onion? Then we're doing 1 Lubellion. The 1 Lubellion, just because it can attack when it's doing it, and you can cycle it through anytime you want when you're pulling off like a Mary Jade or something like that, or like a Super Poly. You can cycle it back, so it's not really bad, and it becomes a light in the graveyard, which is very viable. So definitely 1 Lubellion. You can put it at 2, but I run it at 1. I run Albion, the branded dragon, at 2. See, Albion's coming back, but you know he's regular Albion. He's really good. So just because it's a good cycle back, and he doesn't have to discard a card like Lubellion. Depending on your graveyard, you can go from Lubellion into Albion, then into Dragoon if you have the right cards, or the right cards basically to do it, and the right setup, and then the right slots. But usually going from Lubellion into Dragoon. So to round out the last of the branded fusions, it's 1 Titanclad. Yeah, Titanclad. Yeah, whatever that guy is. The one that is with 1 monsters with 25 more attack. That's the one you use driver for. And 1 effect monster special summon this turn. You can do that pretty much anything. So that's just to round out the branded fusion monsters on top. Those are the ones you're pretty much going to see all the time, and the ones you're going to be running through and milling out. The 1 Dragoon needs to say it's Dragoon. It wins games itself once you get it on board and once you get it live and once you have enough things to facilitate it. Since I don't run 2 Dragoons, and I literally don't have 2 Dragoons, I won the one of Mechaba as well. So it's real easy to get these 2 out on the field with this deck and have like 3 to 4 cards in your hand to stop things. So you can easily just say no. Big cards usually you're going to bounce back Alistair back to your hand from the invocation, and you're going to keep it in your hand. So if they even try to swing at Mechaba for being 25, you could just drop Alistair and make him 35, and they hit themselves. So or just keep it in your hand to negate a monster effect. You could pretty much do a lot of things with these 2 on the field, and they're really, really easy to get, especially if you don't use Red Eyes Fusion to bring him out and you go the Lubellion way. You can just easily go into him like that and have 2 negates on the field with 2 big monsters on the field too as well. The other invoked monster I'm running as well is Kaligi, and just because he's really easy to make, Alistair in the Dark, so really good effect. Can't use it if it's face up. Once they try to activate it, you can negate it, and only 1 monster can attack while he's face up on the field. So if you're just trying to like stall out for time, you can really just use him, throw it out there. Or if you're really just trying to add an extra negate with a boss monster hit with Dragoon, you could just keep it out there and just have a control board with just those 2 on the field. Or just cycle it out with a control board with him and Mechaba, however you want to do it. And the Mary Jade, you pretty much have game on your board all the time. Moving forward into the 2 Shaddols that I run 1 Winda and 1 Construct. I run Construct just for the bounce back, like just to bring it end for the discard of Wendy, so I can just throw it out, or like if I'm discarding Falco, I can set 1 card back down. Real simple as that. Like it just works out. It thins out the deck, and since I only have those 3 cards in there, it takes all 3 out to where I don't draw them. So especially if I'm using the 1 to fusion summon this one, depending on the rate of it, I'm always going to end out with an aerial on the field to where I can banish 3 cards off my opponent. You know what I'm saying? So that's usually the little, like, I use that kind of Shaddol engine, not opposed to like just the thin out and the cycle through with the fusions, but just the thin out also with the banish apart with aerial. And that's pretty much what I use it for. Moving forward for the extra deck is the 3 cards that for me Super Poly, you pretty much I get easy off the time, and that's one Predaplant. Yeah, that guy, I'm not even gonna break my tongue doing that. I always just bring him out. It's a fusion in a dark. My Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, which is 2 dark monsters on the field, and then my Boarlord Furious Dragon, which is just 2 dark dragon monsters. Real easy to make that one, and his effect is a quick effect destruction, so you can just pop himself and one other card on your opponent's side of the field on either opponent's turn as a quick effect. He's an easy one of just to get an extra bite out the deck. So that is the 15 card extra deck. Hey guys, welcome to the cards of note portion of the video, where I basically just show off my side deck and go over some things you might want to use in your side deck. Simply. Just talking about side decks, it always should be a reflection of your weaknesses and strengths in your main deck and the things you might come across in your area and locals. You know what I'm saying? Like in your dueling circle, what you're really going to come across, and that should be what is consistent in your side deck in order to change up what you need in your main deck in order to survive different and various kind of matchups that you're going to be going against in your area. So just saying that with the whole side deck thing, and like that's why I like to call it cards of note and not really say side decks, because side decks can vary depending on the duelist and varying on completely a bunch of different factors. So without further ado, let's get into cards of note.
Hey you, hey guy, you look thirsty. Want some water?
So just preparing myself for mirror matches in because this is a very, very inexpensive and very easy deck to make. So depending on, and it has a lot of varying different variants of it. So it's like the multiverses of Yu-Gi-Oh decks right now. That there's a whole bunch of different kind of branded decks that you're going to be going against that's going to be incorporating their fusion cards. So knowing that, I wanted to emphasize certain cards in my side deck that will help protect me against a mirror match or something of that order against another fusion deck. So those were simply dimensional barriers. You can run 3. I just side deck 2 just for space. Along with dimensional barriers, I'm doing branded retribution and different dimension ground. Just because a lot of things dump to the graveyard or have to do cycle throughs and fish out to get this or dump that to get that or bring back. So once you activate dimension, different dimension ground, sorry about that, you pretty much just cut them off. So they have to be some people, once you play that, they stop their turn, they end their turn, and just let you go. So if it's something like that, it resolves on your turn, you don't really have to worry about it no more. And retribution, just an extra negate, and dimensional barrier, you can activate that card and stop, except for links, what you need to stop. So if it's synchros that are going into fusions or going into exceeds or going into pendulums, you can just stop their effects for that turn or just bringing them out. Just destruction. Just keep it away from me, That's what you're going to be facing normally with mirror matches. So you want to, I was thinking about putting non-fusion arena in, but since it's a continuous trap card, it's going to stop me from playing fusions as well. So it's not just going to hurt them, it's going to hurt me. So I just try to play things that I know would fuck with them and not fuck with me, for lack of a better term. Moving forward into the spells, there goes that one Shaddoll fusion I was talking about. I couldn't really find my extra Blossom nor my extra, what's this guy? My Hedgehog, so I just was like, I don't really use them that much, so I don't even need to stress it. There's other stuff I could put within the side deck or in the cards of note that you can see that might help you out. One instant fusion. Reason being, you can either go the Invoke Kagi or Kaluigi, or Raiden if you want to side it out for Raiden. I also side it out for Raiden because you can make it off of Wendy, and it's another interruption. So think of it like Pluto for the agents, but for your deck, so it's just another interruption that you could stop your opponent from doing by flipping a card face down on either turn. One Dark Ruler No More. Really good card to have. One Foolish, just if you want to start kicking things off into the graveyard, speed up the deck a little bit. Foolish is foolish, so you're either foolish for using it or foolish not using it. Either way, right? No pun intended. And that's it for the spell, trap, and extra deck monsters. Here we are for the normal deck monsters. We're doing one King of the Swamp. Yeah, he's a great card. He can either get your poly or act as a substitute. So he just opens up a lot of different boards and various if you're trying to be more slick with it. And if you're trying to see poly in your hand, he can literally get you poly, do your Alistair move, get the invocation, and just keep going with the Rebellion, and you just keep fusing for as much as you want. And end off on Dragoon and just slap him. So, it's pretty broken. Then we're doing one Keeper of Dragon's Magic. I have one in the main deck. Annie on me seeing him and using him. And he's an extra dragon, so it doesn't hurt to have an extra dragon lying around. For the hand traps extra, my other effect veil, and since I couldn't find my blossom, sorry about that, guys, I just put in one ghost over. Same shit, honestly. It's an interruption, it stops things, and it's better against field cards anyway. So, right? And then we're doing one Scythe. Again, just to kind of lock my opponent out from his extra deck and keep my extra deck from not being harmed and not letting him do anything. So if I do like Scythe lock on him and then like different dimension ground, even if they try to like cycle through and like did I catch them with interruption, they're not going to want to do it. And even if they do it, right before they even bring or start doing anything, I could just shut them out from the extra deck, and they can't even do anything, leaving a clear field for me to hit. So that's my 15-card side deck. I wonder what's your 15-card side deck. Again, it varies from the area you're playing in and the people you're seeing. So yeah, that's what we have, as we like to call it, the cards of notes portion of the video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Hey. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Hey.
What the? He like, fuck these bitches.